Yes, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at the pragmatism of Gary O'Neill. Done an incredible job with them so far, like in 10th position, beating teams like Chelsea. Should have beaten Manchester United first game of the season, beating Manchester City, beating Spurs. Really good, obviously very pragmatic. And I'm going to show you different ways of playing against different opponents and the success and the failures that we've had. As you can see from their passing network versus Chelsea, even though it's a three at the back, they do have this little build-up with a four. So Totti, the left centre-half, very much looking as a sort of like a full-back, with Semedo kind of holding his position on the right, and then Al Natori getting further up the field. With Neto and Sarabia in central areas, and we're going to look at the rule of Cunha and how it's changed. Now, one thing that I noticed with Wolves, my life, how threadbare the squad actually is. Obviously, they really struggled at the weekend. Cunha and Hwang both out injured, so that left them with no real strikers. So they kind of did like a false nine with Neto and Sarabia and the youngster. No, not the youngster, sorry. Is he young? No, he's not young. Bellegarde, them kind of drifting and rotating round. So they have lost that central thread. And as you can see, the squad is so thin. They're lucky that they've kind of survived with key injuries. Your Neto now fit, Sarabia fit. Obviously, they need to get one of the strikers back quickly. Okay, so this tactic is available for my patrons. Go check it out. Link down in the description to my Patreon. If you would like to support the channel every month, we've got 3 tactic videos coming for you this week. Now, everyone else, don't worry. I'm going to go through all the rules and talk about the rules so you can copy it over into your own FM24 save. So, we've said we want to go with that 3 at the back. Now, the only issue that we've kind of got is the out of possession stuff. That's the stuff that changes. Everything else has kind of stayed the same. So what we're trying to do is be quite basic in build-up. You know, they've got no real deeper line playmakers, you know, losing Matinho and losing Neves. Obviously lost. They've gone with sort of like Lamina and João Gomez as like this double pivot in there. Not much in terms of technical qualities. Not technical qualities, that's wrong, creative qualities. And you can see, first of all, for Mario Lamina, obviously brilliant with the aerial stuff, the tackles, interception, blocks, clearances. Aerials were very aggressive. Not so much in the attacking part. Obviously, penalty goals and goals is not bad. But the creativity side, as you can see, the possession side of it is quite low. And then they've also, if you look at the similar players based on the numbers that he's producing at the moment, you know, Palhinha, Alvarez, Guido Rodriguez, Maximovic at Getafe, in particular Danny Garcia at Atleti, and Mangala, the loanee, Nottingham Forest to Lyon. Obviously very sort of like anchor roles in that midfield. And then his partner, João Gomez, obviously look at that, up in the top 99% percentile of tackles and blocks. Really good, really aggressive. But on the flip side, his non-penalty goals, he's up to 60. But that was, you know, he got a brace, I think, against Spurs the other week. Passes attempted, low. Passing completion, low. Successful take-ons, likes to drive for it. So that's why we've obviously got him as a volante in the midfield. So I think going forward for Wolves, I think the issue is, especially when I watched them last week against Sheffield United, playing against that low block is going to be a real issue. When they're up against it, and they have the drive, you know, Lamina's quite good at driving. Gomez obviously is. And then the threat they've got with that front 3 when they're all fit, or at least 3 of the 4, is an absolute threat going forward. So as you can see for us, we've played 12 games so far, 9 wins, 3 defeats. The defeats come in away at Fulham, at home against Arsenal, and then at home against Liverpool. So we haven't done too bad. We've picked up wins as well. 2-1 win at Manchester City at the Etihad. Like, these are smash and grabs. But then when we're playing teams like Everton and West Ham, we've changed it. And Aston Villa, we've changed it. And we've gone to a high press because they do press at times. He's very much based on how the opposition are. I've literally, when I've tried to play the bigger teams, we also beat Manchester United away from home. Smash and grab again. But we're sitting off, trying to be as compact as possible. And then obviously trying to hit teams on the break with those 3 players that we've got in those striking areas. So it is a case of the same tactic, the same roles, and just adjust it, but just adjusting the press, and that's what we've been doing. Okay, right, into the team player instructions. So sweeper, keeper for Sarr, on defend, no player instructions. Kilman on that right-hand side, he is one of the better ball players in the team. 14 passing in the game. Potentially move for him into summer. I know Napoli were chasing him, Tottenham were after him. We've got him at right centre-half. Dawson, absolute legend. No more than just a defender in the middle now of the 3. With the introduction of Totti on this left-hand side, remember that sort of like them passing networks Al Natori getting a lot higher, and obviously Totti into these areas. He is comfortable at playing at left back, so that normally gives you a really good option of having a wide centre-back player. No player instructions, but he's on support because we do really want him pushing up. Semedo, wide wing-back on support. Now, I have been using him in certain games, wing-back on defend. In the bigger games, we have changed that to wing-back on defend, just so we get that little bit of extra security and we build up as the 4. I didn't want him going too high. So that's what we've been doing in the sort of like the games that you'd expect perhaps to lose and you're wanting to real counter attack. Alongside in the double pivot, we've got Lemina, anchor on defend with João Gomez, Segunde Volante on support. Remember, he had those progressive carries, which he'll get with Gomez. And then Al Natori on that left-hand side, wing-back on attack. Once again, in certain games, we'd maybe look at playing him at a wing-back on support. Moving into the front 3, Sarabia, we kind of want him to work in these half spaces. So we've got the player instruction of stay wider. All right, so he drifts into these areas. And then Neto does get very wide, but it's just that we don't want him to start out here, especially without the ball. They get very compact and make it very difficult, especially in these games against sort of like your Cities and the Spurs, getting really compact, really narrow. Chelsea win as well. And then trying to break from these sort of like half space areas rather than out in a real wide areas. But we have got stay wider, so obviously hopefully he'll drift out there at some point. And then the striker, Cunha, like his role is sometimes almost like a strikerless formation where you could even maybe put him as a shadow striker. He comes so deep at times to pick up the ball. He's so good at dribbling. So this is why I've got complete forward on support, because target forward doesn't obviously do dribbling. Hold up ball, dribble more, takes more risk, run from position, moves into channels. Everything Cunha does exceptionally well. As well in some games, I think it was the Manchester City game that they won, he was actually man-marking Rodri. So he was coming really deep and man-marking. So something to do in his player instructions in here in some of the games would be to mark, look, we're playing Newcastle next, maybe picking up that defensive midfielder to really stop them playing. Okay, now, into the team instructions, we've gone balanced mentality. I don't think he tried, no, they've scored a decent number of goals this season. It's not all about sitting in and really, it wasn't the Manchester United performance that we saw yesterday. when they break. They did a really low block against Man City, counter-attacked really well. Really low block against Manchester United. The first game this season, they should have won that. They were absolutely brilliant. So they were an absolute threat. Spurs game as well. Good XG numbers. So it isn't as if they're just sitting in and absolutely camping in. So we've got balanced on. Fairly narrow so we can stay really compact. Obviously, open it out when you're playing against teams. When we look at pressing up a little bit higher, can we open out the pitch just a little bit? But not too much because we still want to be compact. We don't want to be really open. And obviously conceded goals on the break. Pass into space, yes. Neto, not so much Sarabia. Cunha and Hwang as well. When we're breaking, can we play out from the back? Yes, because we've got that back 3. Get Kilman on the ball as much as we can. It isn't long. Cunha is decent in the air. Hwang isn't. The 2 10s aren't. So there's not going to be much in terms of sort of like 50-50 balls, aerial balls. So we still want to build out from the back. Standard passing directness, change that depending on how the game is going. If I feel like I need to tweak and I want to dominate the ball a little bit more against sort of like the lesser sides, take it down 1. If I'm wanting to counter-attack a little bit quicker, we go up 1. Tempo slightly higher. Time wasting once again, depending on who you're playing. If we're playing that Man City, we moved it up all the way. We tried to be, especially second half when we got our noses in front. We started on sometimes, got our noses in front. Last 20 minutes, it was up there with being more disciplined on. Run at defence, yes. Gomez, Cunha, Hwang, Sarabia, Neto, 2 wing-backs, absolutely. And play for set pieces. Kilman, Dawson, Totti, all getting in to the penalty area, scoring goals, hopefully from set pieces. I know they got battered at the weekend by Newcastle. Did have a couple of chances in there. Dawson won a couple of headers. Totti missed a really good chance from a header as well. So we've got play for set pieces. In transition, we've gone for counter press and counter. He does like to counter with the players they've got in those attacking areas. Counter press on, yes, they do try and do it on occasions, depending on opponent. Once again, Manchester City would be a regroup at times. But what we are trying to do a little bit is when those front 3 lose it, that they try and win the ball back in sort of like these areas here. Neto and Sarabia are often winning balls back in these areas here, and that once again gives us the opportunity to counter quickly, so that's why I've got that on. That's a little bit of a personal preference, and once again, match dependent, opportunity dependent. You're leading games, he'll really try and shut up shop, so we'll change that off, so that'll be clicking on and off through games. I think with this, with the pragmatism of Gary O'Neill and what he set up at Wolves, it's a case of a lot of game-to-game changes and then sort of like game state changes depending on how well you're doing in games. And then out of possession, most of the time, we've just been going standard. So the teams, even with new, sort of like the Manchester City games, Man United games that we won away from home, it was just standard mid-block. The last 3 games when we've been at home, we've just put it up, higher line, higher press. They do press at times, try and force turnovers, especially with those 3 in there. So that'll be game dependent. The games that we've done that on recently has been those 4 there. The Everton, the Aston Villa, we went for it. Now, I'll tell you a story. The West Ham game, I did it as a trial to see how the team would act. So I simulated that game 6 times. We lost 5 playing on the standard, and then I thought, right, the 6th time, I'm just going to put it up 1 and see what result we get, and we got a 1-0 win. That's the only game that I've actually simulated, because I thought it was one of those games where it was like a bit 50-50. Do they sit back? It's West Ham. Do we go at them? And then I thought, well, West Ham's tactics won't be that adventurous, so let's try and take the game to them, and we won the game 1-0, Totti scoring, Sarabia missed a penalty as well, deserved the win when we were pressing. So I think big boys, sit back, everyone else, get maybe a higher line in. No, you have got that threat of those 3. You want those 3 on the ball. Like Kuda's had a good start, 7 in 14, Neto 9 in 14, and Sarabia 2 in 14, but 7 assists. Okay, just going to show you the goal, the equalising goal that we scored against Manchester City. The winner was actually a Craig Dawson header. Gomez is going to be the scorer. Obviously, we're in decent rest defence. We've got the wide centre-back on support, as you can see, just moving into play. I think they're playing, Alvarez looks like playing pretty much a false 9 at this point. Anchoring Lemina's not going to get too far forward. Gomez, obviously, he goes and runs. It's a wonder goal, but that's the Volante on support. Remember those progressive carry numbers that we saw from Gomez in the FB ref stats. And then, as you can see, the game of Manchester City, 1.65 XG to their 1.66. They had 59% of the ball, which we're going to get, but absolutely lethal on the counter-attack. The Manchester United one, a little bit different. We did still have that mid-block. They kind of not dominated the ball. I think it was 51% to 49. Once again, really good in turning over. So this is the press, the Gomez, diving in, driving in, chipping on Arna brilliantly. They were so good exploiting that in the game against Manchester United in the opening game of the season. It was that big hole in the midfield with loose balls that they were pouncing on. And as you can see from the stats, we're in games, we're creating good number of chances, over 1 XG at Old Trafford in bad. Obviously, as well, the Manchester United in game is a lot better than the Manchester United we are seeing now. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Check out the videos for the rest of the week. So on Wednesday, we've got, not De Zerbi, Simone Inzaghi's 3-5-2. Inter Milan, absolutely wonderful in the match engine. And then on Friday, or probably even Saturday, we've got De Zerbi ball, but with a little bit of a tweak that we're going to look at it, not so much at Brighton, but how it would maybe fit in at Barcelona. Potential new manager for them next season. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Smash a like, muchly appreciated. As also, let me know down in the comments any other tactical replications you'd like to see over the next few weeks and months. Cheers, guys. Take care. See you later.